Mike Bryson.
At
Okay.
60 years.
We just
It's
added
good
another
for me.
Okay, I was waiting for that, you know, the agenda. That's why I was confused.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now that's a much longer conversation.
Yeah.
We can never switch and just tell you. We'd have to go through the process.
right.
Union leaders, focus group. But we have to offer some.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, that's clear. I appreciate it, the clarification.
And then you'll be there tomorrow for the
Yes,
Very
I'll be
good.
there.
Look forward
Yep.
to it.
Team. No.
They're down with Will is.
Mine is mine. I don't use it.
I now call to order the December 9th review session. Madam President, may we have a roll call?
President Goodwin,
Here.
Dr. Bailey,
Here.
Mr. Lacy,
Here.
Mr. Smith, Ms. Reinhardt,
Present.
Mr. Walker.
Here.
6 present.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag Our mission is to inspire, educate, and empower. Our vision is to inspire, educate, empower scholars for a lasting impact, and our purpose is to cultivate a supportive and engaging educational experience. Before we just jump into our first presentation, if we could just have a silence. Just to honor Karen Wick. Thank you all. Dr. Lawrence, we have a presentation.
Thanks. Thanks, Dr. Goodwin. Ellie Brown is here from K-12 Insights, and she's going to have a brief presentation. Essentially, what we try to do in the district is align and streamline communications so that we can be more efficient. Lots of districts are great at communicating out, but what about all the inbound communications that come? So we have lots of different products, lots of different sources, lots of different methods of communicating. And so I think that she's going to give us some options around how we can do this efficiently. So Ellie, come on up. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. Can you all hear me? Okay. First, my sincere condolences to the community. Dr. Lawrence, board president and board members, thank you for allowing me to speak today. My name is Ellie Brown. I'm from K-12 Insight, and I'm going to speak about our platform on Flow. So what we do, again, outbound communication is important, but inbound is just as much as well. Customer service is really important in public schools, especially with school of choice. You have charter networks, private schools, homeschooling, and customer service is important in terms of keeping the students in public education. So what we do is we're a unified service desk. We're going to focus on operational efficiency because we only have so much time for staff members, as well as customer service and making everyone's voice heard, having community trust, all there streamlined into one service. Operational challenges. So a lot of the times when I'm meeting with districts, I hear these different operational challenges. All of these are siloed challenges, and it's really hard to understand that visibility and accountability piece of, can you truly see how many people have reached out within transportation? How quickly was that resolved? What were those trending themes? Right now, those are in different silos. And then it's always important to align back to your strategic plan, what's going on with Dayton Public Schools needs. And so with the 5 C's, you'll see that culture, the communication, the commitment, customer service, and collaboration, all is kind of what our foundation of OnFlow is, making sure that you collaborate with cross-departmental to be able to have that strong culture, and then of course that customer service. The most important part is accountability through data. So again, you can say you're doing a great job with customer service, but where's the proof? And so being able to have a real-time dashboard of, again, how quickly are we responding back to everyone? What's our trending themes? Is there any critical alerts that we need to take place? And then as a board to be able to have that accountability at the district level. Sorry. So again, districts have really mastered the outbound communications. Alex and her team are phenomenal. I've had a chance to connect with her. But when you turn that megaphone around, it's really difficult to get a grasp on, again, understanding all your different stakeholders, your students, your parents, your teachers, your community members. They choose their form of communication, an in-person visit, a phone call, a text, social media. And then there's not any governance. They choose who they're going to reach out to. They might reach out to multiple people or just one. And so again, having it all into one unified service desk, they're still going to reach out the way that they would like to. But again, just having that tracking and accountability of having it in one place to be able to have visibility. And again, that single source of truth, all departments would eventually be able to be serviced with our unified service desk. They wouldn't be having to work in silos. A lot of the times I hear districts of human resources working with payroll or benefits, and having that cross collaboration is crucial. And then meeting the customers where they are, especially in this educational landscape at the moment. We have different age and generations, we have different languages, they have different ways of wanting to reach out to the district, whether that is through a chatbot or in person or phone call or email. Everything's still staying the same, but we do want to be able to make it easy and also equitable to, those families of different languages as well. And so what does that look like launching OnFlow onto your district? 2 things I want to point out on the screen. One, on the right-hand side is that pop-out tab. You'd be surprised with school districts how difficult it is to get in touch or figuring out just who do I go to. We know as educators and people in education that, special education, that's how I request my IEP, but not all stakeholders know from just their job title who they're supposed to be reaching out to. And so one you'll see on the right-hand side would be that chatbot, reducing the number of times that people are reaching out to the district. If at 9 p.m. on a Saturday, I want to know, how do I enroll for Dayton Public Schools? I can get those answers immediately. But also you'll see at the top left-hand side, connect with us, and you can go ahead. That it's going to be topic focused. So taking away your directory and really focusing on what are those topics. Sharing good news, that's always the positive. Let's start with positives first. So staff shout out, student shout out, community, but then going into different departments and having really quick, easy ways. What the customer or stakeholders do not see is behind these buttons would be actually workflows going to the right person the first time. Because a lot of the times as a parent, I can only imagine you reach out to one person in the district and then you get passed to someone else and then someone else, and they're probably frustrated just because they want that answer right away. And then you'll also see on the top right-hand side, again, being able to change it to your home language and really being able to allow families who might not feel comfortable to reach out in the first place, have that way and access to the community. Internally, what you'll notice, I know this is a lot on the screen, so hopefully it's not too overwhelming, but on the back picture is what it looks like. It's almost like an email inbox, but instead, it's going to be sorted by critical, urgent, normal, and so by priority. So in terms of in the red, for the critical, those will be critical alerts, whether it's safety, security, someone saying they want to go to the news, or they're wanting to leave the district, or they're upset, having that all there. And then you'll see in the bottom right-hand side, this is a picture of when it comes in. The number one thing that we want to do is save time for the district. So when someone comes in emails and says, for example, I hear that there's a broken door in my student's classroom, I'm concerned. The follow-up usually is, who is your student? What is your name? And then you're going back and forth and waiting for those details. You'll see on the left-hand side, everything's linked with integrated data. So you can see what student it is, what school they're at, and saving a lot of time so you can be able to, notify the principal or whoever you need to on that issue. And then lastly, the dashboard. So again, accountability is really important. So again, pulling up that dashboard, the X score after every interaction, we send a form to that stakeholder, 1 out of 10, how do you rate your service? And again, you're being able to be notified how your average score is, the dialogue age, how quickly you can be responding, any negative experiences, positive experiences, anything that's unresolved, all right there at your fingertips. And then there's some slides on implementation and what that looks like in support, but I wanted to leave time for any questions because 1, I'm sorry for talking so quickly. And 2, there's probably a lot of questions, so I'll pause.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Board Member Walker.
Thank you. So I'm just curious, what measurable outcomes as far as like attendance, retention, what family engagement, what's the anticipated result of the implementation of this?
That's a really great question. So it really depends on really depends on the district. We work specifically with the cabinet to figure out at Dayton what is the goal. So far with the meetings I've heard so far, it's with enrollment. When I've been speaking with the enrollment team, hearing about how quickly are we able to respond to those families that are interested in registering for Dayton, and then how quickly can we be able to get them in a meeting and get all of those required materials. But another example would be call time resolution. So working with the transportation department, figuring out currently how long does it take for a call to be resolved, and then being able to show that shaved down time of whatever it is of 12 minutes now down to 6 minutes. And so again, I would have to say, and I know that's not like a specific answer, but working with each individual department to come up with those KPIs so we can be able to report that back. Pasco County did one on just an ROI calculator of how much time they're saving, and then when, the cost of itself is paying for it, when you're being able to save more time and be able to do other things. But again, it's just depending on each department and what their needs are.
Okay. Is there any current baseline data for like as a district what issues we're seeing and things like that?
Definitely it would be, and again, it's more of the one that we have for numbers would be the ROI calculator that we have like public on our website. But I don't want to say, for enrollment, we've been able to have this many students come for next year, we're able to save and then anything like that. But besides more of the shaving off the time, so the operational efficiency piece. And then also a good example is York County Public School. It's in Virginia. What they did is actually within their strategic plan, they have customer service. They put in their dashboard that I showed there through a different Power BI Microsoft dashboard to the public. So then you can see their scores from 2023 all the way to this year and see how they've actually increased their customer service score and decreased how quickly they're able to get back to their folks. And then they actually show the topics, who's reaching out, how quickly, all that information there. So kind of just keep it more visible to the public as well if you want.
Okay. 2 more questions.
Yes.
What safeguards do we have for this?
Very important because it is AI involved.
Okay.
So with the chatbot, it's through OpenAI, but we don't share to any third parties and you have full ownership. In terms of the chatbot itself, it only pulls from the resource center that is your website. If someone types in, what is the mascot for Dayton? What sports teams are here? It'll say, sorry, I can't answer that question, but here is, the directory or whatever it is. It says, sorry, I can't answer that question. So there will never be any hallucinations. And then also in terms of how much data is saved, it's up to the district. We have a lot of district partners that you save it forever just for, FOIA or public records to just be able to have access to it, but you have full access to it. It's not shared to anyone and it's only within the district.
Okay. And then my last question is like a 2-part. So implementation timeframe, and then who has ownership of this in addition? Like where's the oversight?
Yep, that's great. So in the proposal, you'll see it's going to be for district-wide. I just met actually today with the technology team because this is a tech-heavy platform, but the district will be using it and each department will have their own ownership. It will be led by IT. And in terms of implementation, originally with Dr. Lawrence and his cabinet, we were looking at what is the low hanging fruit, what is the most need at the district, and we've seen transportation in terms of how quickly can they get resolved with the call center and being able to get to their customers quickly, enrollment, and then also the superintendent suite in terms of just having that open lines of communication of how are we doing, any questions, comments, concerns. So our plan is to do those 3 departments to start and then being able to onboard the rest of the departments as we go on. Our implementation team supports through the whole partnership. It's a one-time purchase of that fee, but then we'll be able to continue on. And again, it's really important for us to personalize that we have our recommendations, but depending on how the structure works within your district, working at the time frame that works with everyone and being able to go from there.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I got a question.
Okay.
And you might have already answered it, but if something goes wrong with the system, is it our IT department that will be working on it, or is it your IT department that will be working on it? And the other part is, if it's you, then what kind of cost is that going to put upon us?
That's a great question. Thank you. No cost. We have a client care team 24/7, especially with critical alerts and everything. We always oversee it. We do train, and we always recommend that we have at least 4 to 5 people at Dayton that are going to be system admin, where they can themselves be able to fix things, but also as much support as you want from our team, we'll be able to give it, and there's no additional fees. I think that's really important to say right now, is that what you're seeing in the proposal, there's no add-ons to it. Like, that we don't have anything of like, oh, you need more support, here's what it is, things like that. Cleveland Metro is one of our partners, and they meet with us every week just to have check-ins and us being able to support them, but also we have some districts that are like, we really like technology and we know what to do, so we don't need any support. So it's really what the district needs.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith?
All right, thanks for coming out. I appreciate the presentation. I had a few questions, starting off with, in your experience in the districts that you've been working with, what seems to be the best accountability level? Like the people who get this information and then get it out, is it best at the high cabinet level? Have you seen it at the department level with the on the ground workers? In your experience, what's been the best, or even just like how do districts use it
Yeah.
with that piece where they get the information and then get it out?
Yeah. So you'll see on the implementation slide that there's kind of those 3 tiers. We always say central office to start is the best, because again, when you see your leaders using it and then promoting it, that's when then every, departmental, they'll be able to do that as well. The lowest we usually go to is like principal level, and then the teachers are still going to have their way of communication with their stakeholders. You're going to use Parent Square or Remind or whatever that is. But truly what we do is we meet with implementation per department, because also transportation has different issues than HR. So we treat it as an individual basis, meeting with kind of everyone, the cabinet, all the way down to department, all the way down to everything else, to be able to see what that workflow and that team is. Because what you'll see is we have some things in place where we'll recommend, let's say someone comes in and if it's an HR and it's going to be something of a complaint, and the current SLA, the service level agreement, is we want to close this in 3 days. We want to get back to them in 3 days. If, let's say, by 2 days, you want this to trigger and have now the department head or someone, in cabinet level to then be tagged in, that will be able to automatically do it. So you do want to be able to have everyone involved in it. But I always say and recommend, again, you start with cabinet level, and again, have all those departments listed so everyone knows where to go, and then has those workflows in place on correctly assigning it to the right person.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And my other question that I can think of right now would be, in your experience, what have been some of the best ways that districts have gotten the community used to using this?
Yeah, great question. So a couple things. If you look it up right now, School District Philadelphia, their website's down. But I was trying to pull it up because they have a great way of like a banner changing, you know, every couple seconds with different news. And it always says on one of it, let's talk with Philadelphia, press this button. And so we support your team by also just showing kind of other districts' ways of marketing, of flyers being sent home, of, you know, if there's a newsletter, whatever it is, of just saying this is our new way. And especially too with the picture I showed of the website, they're pop-out tabs, so it's kind of hard to miss of like, oh, and that's an easy way. When you look right now and you look to try to figure out like, how do I connect with someone? If it says contact us, that's an easy button to press, and then you know that's how you reach out to the district. Detroit Public Schools recently partnered with us probably early September, and I think what a big easy win is just looking at your dashboard, specifically the chatbot, and seeing how many questions were answered in just even 30 days post-launch. And that's something we do with implementation is when we launch, we'll have a 30-day post-launch data review, look at the data, and then again, if we notice something's low, oh, okay, something's going on, should we promote it better, things like that, we're able to make it adjustments.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lacy?
So, like, with transportation, if there's a problem with, if there's a big problem with transportation on a particular day, and a lot of people are calling in, is that, I mean, and nobody's getting to talk to a person. You're not going to create, this doesn't create a person for them to talk to. I mean, this just routes them. You want to answer this or not?
So that's the chatbot side. Yes, it's not a person they talk to, but then there's also another side. They can call into a help desk number or service desk number that does the same route, but that is a person. So it would route it to someone like me, IT, transportation. It actually gives that whole call log, so the recording from the call and a few other things that we traditionally wouldn't have.
Thank you, I appreciate it. A big thing too is also right now, when I asked about transportation, it's one phone line, so that's one person. What our platform is we're using that same number, so we don't have to re-educate everyone of like, here's a new phone number for transportation, same one. It routes it to now the computer, and now you can have multiple agents. And a big thing with school districts is we're all a family, and at the beginning of the school year, you know, I even was meeting with the IT of like, perfect, we can actually have more people be answering the phone. So yes, there's only a certain amount of people and humans to answer the phones, but a big thing too is that with your current system, you leave a voicemail, and then you have to physically listen to the voicemail. Then you have to call them back and ask, what's your email? You know, who are you? All those things. Instead, when they leave a voicemail within our platform, same phone number that you already have, voicemail is transcribed, put into a ticket, assigned to the correct person. You already have that information from your SIS of who the student is. All that information's there, and you can follow up quicker, especially with IT and transportation. The after hours of just having it already transcribed and ready to go, and you can wake up in the morning and see them already ready to go, and you can assign. That helps, but then also, if you happen to have extra people, you can have them answer the phone. But it's more of the accountability and tracking of it when it's taking it away from just the phone call, because right now it's a phone call. I have to type down my notes somewhere. The note could be lost. Do we even have clarity on how many calls? Now you can actually pull up how many calls were made in transportation on this day. Oh, then maybe we do need some more support next year. And then you can be able to do that.
But you would be able to also be able to see in real time
Yes.
if there's a lot of calls coming in. Or, okay.
Yep. It would say how many is waiting, and then you can go ahead and add both of
Okay.
the, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Couple questions for you. Does this service have translation service on it?
Yes.
Good. Where is that located? I didn't see it. I went through these slides again, so how would?
So what you'll see is anything, so the chatbot itself, you can press on the top right-hand corner, languages, drop down. The district turns on the languages. We have over 50. It's through Bing Translate, which is just like a popular translation service. And so they'll be able to translate through the chatbot, but then also on the forms itself and the buttons, again, same thing, press the button on the top right-hand side. Everything is translated, especially with forms. If you have any forms that are in PDF, now we can digitize it and be able to put it in their home language. When they submit it, it will say, it'll go back to English and then it'll say, translated in this language. And then when you obviously type back and respond to them, it will go back in their home language. And then ADA compliant as well.
Okay, so two-part question here. One's for you, and then kind of the second is for our district leadership. On the implementation, so we have a mix of Gen Xers, Gen Yers, and some Gen Zers. And technology and adapting to technology, it is not necessarily easy for us. In a sense, this is another now tool for them to look at, and that piece is something else to learn here. So we talked about the implementation timeline, but the usability of this.
Yep.
I'm really interested on that piece because again, this is now, in addition to all the other stuff they use and they're currently using.
Right.
The feasibility of it, like what does that look like, and what have you guys seen when you bring this type of product to
Yeah.
to a district? And then I'm gonna come back to you.
I'll give you the realistic answer. We usually say 3 to 6 months after you've launched is when then you're actually seeing, then start tracking it after that of the outcomes of how often is all your stakeholders using this. I think what's important, and like you mentioned too, so many different generations, they will still pick what they choose. So it doesn't have to be a change management. If people are still wanting to call, they use that same number. It's just we're tracking it in a different way. Now, internally, there is change management within staff members. If there's different generations, then that's where the implementation and support comes in. You have it all the time. You can have as much support as you want. And I think, again, it helps when the cabinet level is seeing it and doing it, and then other people are trying as well. Sorry, you said something else, and I was about to speak to it.
All the different generations, usability.
Yep. And so again, it's more of everyone's choice. When they see something new and they're going to try it, they'll be able to try it. But again, being able to promote it and being able to, whether it's QR codes, things like that. Oh, this is where it was. I'm sorry. It came back. I understand that there's a lot of different platforms. Even myself understanding when I was in education of you have to log into this platform, then you have to do this, then you have to do this. Hopefully our goal, my goal, is with OnFlow, it's unified. So again, when they're going to reach out to the district, they will always be using OnFlow. So again, it will take, whatever it is, 3 to 6 months, but then the way that they reach out to the district, you take away your emails, you don't have your directory, you have the buttons. And so then you're able to always reach out the same way, and then it's going to become something more consistent.
Okay, thank you. Now my second part to district leadership. So I'll pay attention here. One, I want to know what is the goal for this product to replace that we're currently using in that piece of it? And then second, with the change management strategy, what is the strategy? And you guys have talked about it at the higher level. How have we now started? Give me the campaign, this piece of it, of how we're bringing this out to try to get the buy-in from the people who actually have to fulfill these type of things. And have they been brought in to this at this point?
Yeah, so the biggest one first is to get rid of, essentially it was the email. So the email sent to a general email and maybe no tracking. The second thing that it's going to replace is FMX long term. So the requests that go in the FMX, the communications module in FMX. If I remember right, there was a operations module. I think there's 10 or 15 different ones. It's going to consolidate all those a different way into this tool. And then lastly, Incident IQ. So again, it's going to replace all of those into one, as she said, unified tool that no matter what you're requesting for, you put it through there and it goes to the right people.
Before I move on to them, Incident IQ, didn't we just get that a year ago?
Yes. Request wise though, cost wise, this will be better for the district.
Okay. Leadership, change, management strategy. What's that? Have you guys developed it? Can we see it?
So we have not developed the change management strategy for this. However, I do believe that through tenets of implementation science, we'll identify the people that are necessary to train those individuals who will be manipulating the system on a day-to-day basis. And it's comforting to know that we'll have weekly support, monthly support, if the board approves this.
Okay.
But we'll put together an entire strategy rollout for training within those first 3 to 4 months.
I'm going to request that you guys give us something back, because communication is the biggest complaint that we get over and over and over again, no matter what's happening in the district. And I hear you saying training, but this is actually a shift now to something else that they'll have to use other than other pieces of it. And in any basic change management strategy, that buy-in piece is critical to this not being a waste on that piece. So even though you guys haven't thought of that yet at this point, like we need some ideas on our side of again, how we're going to get the uses, because we're now already now a year later replacing something else that we got last year that kind of didn't in that piece of it, but we want this to be as successful as possible. So that is outside of the people who sit in this room, those actual users and their ability to not be frustrated with another product is a major component to, because it could be a great project. They hate it if they refuse to use it, if they refuse to buy into how it makes their jobs more efficient. It will be just another software now on our books that we'll have to find something else because the people won't.
So we can put together a change management strategy and submit it by the end of the week if you like.
Try to come back and talk about it the same way you talked about it here today.
Okay,
You felt
no problem.
that people watching this or someone, they go back, they'll be the one to realize it. And if people have feedback, talk to us. Yes, something.
I think you heard the elimination of 3 systems. That's just the beginning. The goal, the reason Ellie came was I met her at a conference, and the superintendent of Philadelphia and Cleveland and I were talking. And what I heard was alignment and one-stop shop. And you talked about those different generations, Dr. Goodwine. I think I'm 2 generations ahead of you, yeah, maybe.
I know that you use AI as a general term with Google.
Right.
You're one of those people I worry about.
You worry about me?
This
But
type of thing.
I want you to know that this is right down my alley, one-stop shop. I won't have to go anywhere else and look all over the place. It's really simple and user-friendly, and I see Ellie shaking her head.
I do want to add on, when I met with Dr. Lawrence, I appreciate his leadership, because there's a lot of people that I meet in school districts that are like, I love it, I'm going to get it, this is what we're going to do. But I think that's what's important to point out is the change management piece, where Dr. Lawrence is not going to say, this is what we're going to do. Instead, he had me meet with Dr. Benson Taylor, Alex, Sarah. I met with enrollment with Joy Stokes and was able to ask her, hey, what's your current workflows? What do you think about this? And she got really excited and was like, I want this ready to go for February so I can actually help and support with enrollment. I met with IT for a couple of hours at lunch today, and they were excited and able to have the requirements gathering to be able to gather, oh my gosh, sorry, all the data. And so I do think, yes, it is on Dayton, but also on me as well, of just really being able to meet with all of those departments that would be willing or going to be able to utilize OnFlow, which would be eventually all departments, but starting, with the 3 or with the 4 and really understanding what are their needs, how can this help you? Because we are as much invested as you are, because if you are not using it, you will not want to renew it. So it's as much as our responsibility as yours to make sure that everyone's on board and they see a value in it.
You also presented to cabinet,
Yep.
the entire leadership team. You also presented to core, sub-team from the core. You've met a lot of people here. And I don't think it's happened, Dr. Goodwine. I mean, since, this is how we're talking. I don't think the next step has happened. I don't think in every department, every division, someone has gone back and said, hey, I saw this wonderful presentation. Here's the work we're going to be doing. What do you think? We need to do that. But at the highest level, she's been all across the district.
Okay, a couple more questions for you guys,
Sure.
because I know how much you love talking to vendors when you go out there. How
Hey,
many-
listen.
With this product specifically, how many other products similar to this have you got?
I want to say 3 total.
What's those 3?
I don't remember that. I'll get them to you.
Okay, and then with this contract itself, is this a 1-year contract or is this multi-year?
1.
Can we have that updated in the purchase recs? Just to indicate that it is a 1 year. All right, those are all the questions I have now. If there are more, if anyone has any more, just please submit them via email, so then we can get those answers since we're voting on this next week.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out,
Yeah.
appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Ellie.
Right, hearing of the bargaining units. Are there anyone, members of bargaining units that would like to speak tonight? Okay. Madam Treasurer, do we have anyone signed up to speak from the public?
Yes, we do have one.
1 second. Please limit remarks to 3 minutes. It is inappropriate to address any matter involving pending disputes, grievances under a labor agreement, disciplinary actions involving an employee or student, ongoing labor negotiations, concerns, or matters that have already been settled, and or any matter which, because of its nature, is deemed appropriate to be discussed in executive session. Mr. Walker will serve as your timekeeper. Go ahead.
Stephanie Lucky. Stephanie Lucky. I guess she's not.
Okay, Dr. Lawrence, your recommendation.
Thank you. I recommend the approval of the following: B, C, D, E, F, and G.
Is there a motion? Is there a motion?
Motion, so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Lacy, second by Dr. Bailey. Any questions on the motion? Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
Just more information as far as,
Dr. Green.
can we pull, B2 until after executive?
That's fine. B2 is pulled.
And
Anything else?
then B3, I'm just curious of where this came from in the budget. This has never been a position that the district has had. And if we just changed life coaches to assist freshmen when they were doing this work of recruiting mentors, what's the rationale for hiring a mentor coordinator when I thought we had a resolution where we were freezing things like this? So this is essentially a new position.
Oh, Associate Superintendent, Ms. Meyer.
Yes. Good afternoon, good evening, Board. Thank you, Board Member Walker, for your question. That mentor position is to address our special populations that have significantly increased. It's being paid out of our title fund, so it's not grant funded. But actually, when they came and did an audit with us, the state and federal grants at the district level, knowing what our population was, they said, well, what are you doing with your resources to address students that may be unhoused, those that are living here in the city, but their homes are in Cleveland, Ohio? How are you providing additional supports for them? So this position is designed to pull mentors, to train and bring mentors in from throughout the city to work one-on-one with our most vulnerable population. And so it's a strategic plan to align with those students that don't have support.
So if we have an office that has McKinley Vento specialists and a community outreach specialist, I mean, this
Right.
position is essentially in that same department that's already doing that work.
Well, they're not lining up mentors for that sustainability plan of making sure those students are successful. They provide supports, but they're not able to mentor all of those hundreds of kids.
How many people applied for this? Was it posted?
Oh, it was posted, and there were several. We can provide information on how many people applied. The interviews did take place. We can provide that information. We'd be glad to.
I struggle because I know that Montgomery County had a mentoring collaborative that closed down, and this same individual had ran that organization, and also went to Sinclair and had the same thing that was going on. The mentoring went away from there. So I'm just curious on, again, we're adding another position here in the district. What is the actual tangible things that will happen with this? Because again, we just had females and males of color that were doing that work as well. We changed their title and gave them a different directive. We have student success coaches that are in building that can do the same thing. So again, if I can just get an email explanation of what exactly is the work through plan here.
Yeah, we can provide a job description. The difference between those positions, which are obviously people in the district that help coach and mentor kids, this person will be pulling community persons. We have people that come all the time saying, how can I help? So she will train community partners to be the actual one-on-one mentors, which is a very strong sustainability plan. You've got one position, and she could have hundreds of volunteers, maybe thousands for our community, for our school community, because that's how many kids we have that need help.
Okay, and then can I get an email just of how many positions are actually in title fund and federal funds? Because it seems like every new position is being paid out of that, when I know that there's buildings that have one or two people that are being paid out of title funds or federal funds.
Right, we have a whole list of positions that are out of grant funds, and we
Okay.
can provide that.
Perfect, I appreciate it.
All right, any other questions?
I did have some other questions on B3, but I think maybe better for executive session, so we can pull that until after executive. That would be good.
Okay. B3, pull till after executive session. B is in boy.
And I have it.
Any more, Mr. Smith? Any other questions? Mr. Walker has some while you thinking that.
Go ahead, Walker.
Go
I
ahead.
just, C10 is on here and it says effective date of November 3rd, and we had a meeting a week later. So I'm just curious if this one made it on late.
That you got, Lawrence? B10.
And then it says C85 under that and then C86. So it's things taken off.
C80, Rita's coming.
I know that that's supposed to be like C11 and C12. It just says C85 and C86. So if we can just correct that. That's all my question. Oh, sorry. And then while you're coming, there were some student workers that were on here for dates of October. Are they waiting to get paid for us to approve this, or have they been paid?
As for the dates, they're messed up because we removed the sign-on bonus, so it kind of messed up our numbering.
Okay, so that's the 85 and 86 piece?
Yeah.
Okay,
As for Carrie Carpenter, the name listed there, we usually don't board approve building changes, but because she's going into a preschool assignment, it changes her retirement, so we have to board approve that.
okay. I think mine was more so, it was a date of 11/3, and we had a meeting like a week after that.
Right, we did the building change, we processed that all through the treasurer's office, how we normally do, and then they came back and asked us if we put it on the board agenda. We missed the part about the retirement piece.
Okay, and then, yeah, my last one is just the student workers. One of them has a date of August. Like, so I just want to make sure that those students are not waiting to get a check. And like, how is, we approve this tonight, when would they get paid? Are they have anything else that's outstanding with HR? Are they waiting on payroll? Like, what's the next step with these individuals getting paid?
I'll get an update on that for you.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith?
I'm good for now.
All right, any other? August dates, I see October.
Nope.
Did I miss it?
E9.
Yeah, E9.
E9 is August 22nd.
And then there's student ambassadors. E14.
Yes, we were informed that they had been working, they had not completed all of their paperwork. That's why we were just able to get them on the agenda. A lot of the holdup with our student workers is that they have difficulty obtaining their birth certificates and their required information. So that's the holdup. So they have not been paid yet.
Okay, so then, Madam Treasurer, if we approve this tonight, do they have hours already they need to get paid for?
I would believe so.
Okay, so how soon can we get these students taken care of?
Next pay.
That's next week?
Next pay is when?
I think it's Friday.
Next Friday.
Next Friday.
Okay, is it possible that today is Tuesday, that we can get these students taken care of sometime this week?
It's a little hard for them. Their payroll department's going down, right? That's what the Davis base is telling me.
Okay, so but we're all agreeing that these 5 students will get paid next week. All right,
If everything is taken care by, if the payroll has everything.
okay. So
Because
can I
the
just get
deadline
it?
was today,
So,
Monday. Yeah,
okay, so if that was the
yesterday,
deadline,
Yesterday.
can I just get an email or the board get an email tomorrow on, they have everything and they will be paid next week? If that can happen. All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Thank you. Dr. Jones, I think I saw Chief Williams here.
She is. She over there on that.
What you talking about? That's even better. Mr. Gather, I asked you a couple questions. She showed up. You got your athletics gear on, man. Ready to answer some questions. So I do see some of the winter sports hires on here, some prorated folk. Do you suspect there will be any more winter coaches that we need to bring forward? Are you guys pretty good now with the winter sport?
We should be done with winter. So we're working on spring now, but we should be done with winter.
Okay. All right, and then, what do you see any gaps, like foresee any gaps with some of the winter sports outside of, some of the schools that traditionally haven't had some, not winter, but spring sports?
Gaps with winter?
Spring.
Spring, some of the minor sports, so baseball, softball, which those are the sports that, we traditionally don't always offer at schools, but
Right.
those are the gaps that we see.
Okay, all right. I'm about to go get my stuff. I'll come out there and help. Get my people stuff.
We can use you.
All right, appreciate it. That's all. I just wanted to ask about that. I saw some of the basketball coaches, a couple other wrestling. That's all I had, Madam President.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
6 yes.
Your next recommendation?
I recommend approval of the following DEA after July 10th for a vote.
Is there a motion?
Someone,
Second.
Moved by Ms. Reiner, second by Dr. Bailey. Any questions on the motion? Being none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
No.
Dr. Bailey,
No.
Mr. Lacy,
No.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
No.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
2 yeses, 4 no.
Thank you. Your next recommendation for review.
Budget information, please take a look at it.
Any questions on the budget information?
I can chew up.
Your next recommendation for review?
For review contracts.
Right. Guys, take a moment to look at them. Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
Smart Start Education, is this the first year for that? What was used last year? And if this is not the first year, is there any data to support what they actually did last year?
That's a tutoring program for our unhoused youth. Last year, they had hired tutors that would come in and tutor. And that was problematic because there were a lot of attendance problems and a lot of the kids weren't serviced the way they were supposed to. So this year, we're going with a company to come and make sure it happens.
Okay, what's the anticipated outcomes with utilizing this company? And was there any other companies that were looked at?
Yeah, there were other companies that and I could get a list of who else was looked at because we did go out and bid for other companies. This was the one that was selected, and I can send more information about it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I got one with the, might be for you too, so, the Princeton Review. How's that working out and with, over on Mount Street? And, because it's for Mount Street, correct? Tutoring
Yeah.
for the Princeton Review. How much are they using it? Yeah, how much are they using it? Is it benefiting our students over there?
So a couple of meetings ago, we talked about a large grant that our schools that are in school improvement, Wagaman, Mound Street, Dunbar, Thurgood, would have high dosage tutoring. These are just starting, these are the contracts, so I don't have any information yet, but what we can do is provide a follow-up on all of these companies. And these are the ones that the state gave us a list that we had to select from.
Okay,
So that's what this is.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
So is senior dinner dance, that's not prom?
Oh, it's
When is
senior
it?
dinner day. It's called something different.
Mr. Lacy, it's usually before baccalaureate and after prom. So there's, I think the order, if I remember correctly, is no, it's after prom.
It's before the prom.
Senior dinner day.
Prom is the last day.
No, it's not that.
You're somebody who's not popular.
Mr. Lacy, it's a series of fun activities for seniors. So it's one of the three prior to graduation.
Any other questions? Dr. Lawrence, does that conclude your recommendation?
Dr. Goodman, that does conclude my recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer.
I have advances. We are advancing from general fund to the grant funds until we get the grant funds. We advance it from general fund. When it's received, we will pay general fund back.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, your next recommendation?
B is my monthly financial for November. It's a space holder until Thursday. We have donations, several of them. Thank you, donors, until I send the letters.
Can I ask, on the donor, is the donor back to school fundraiser?
I don't know. I can bring the record.
It just says donor back to school fundraiser recipient SNAP students. I'm just curious on, is that an actual donor or is it supposed to be a company or something there? But, okay.
Before you move forward, let me just ask, I saw on our social media page that the last day to accept, I believe, gloves and scarves and stuff like that, is that Friday or what date was that? Is it Friday? What date is Friday? Anybody?
12.
Friday the 12th. So if you would like to donate hats, gloves, coats, please bring them in because our students do need them and they greatly appreciate it. And you have till Friday. And where can they make those donations? Actually, somebody from PIO, can you come up and just say those things from us that you kind of know the answers to these things? And give us a good little elevator pitch. You might get somebody a coat today. Oh, it's always good. Really?
Really? I thought you
Yeah, I've never been called up here before.
Hold on, wait. They gotta get you a close-up.
No,
There we go.
Ryan, don't. I know.
There we go.
Obviously, we can, okay. Central Services, Waldman, Wright Brothers, Belmont, and Meadowdale all have blue buckets in the front office. Also, Koji Burger is accepting coats, and if you donate a coat, you get a free burger. So, not a bad gig. They're out on Third Street. They just reopened up $1.
What's the time that people can make it to these places?
During school hours.
Okay.
I'll have people staffed in the main office. Here, we're 8 to 4:30 though, so you can come anytime between them.
And where could they find the school hours if they didn't know what those
On our
are?
website, on each school page, there's also a bell schedule on the schools as well.
So thank you.
Can I
What
ask?
day is this again with the free burgers?
Anytime, Koji is through the end of this week as well, so if you go bring a coat, you get a coupon. Yeah.
So can I ask, I don't know, I think we have basketball games Friday. Is it possible to put the ones at the buildings at the basketball games in case, and then just put something out for individuals to bring it to the game or something like that?
I'll email Erica Pimentel in our federal programs office.
Okay.
She's coordinating all of this, and I'll see if she can get some bids
Okay.
on games.
Quick question. Chief Jones, do we have home games this week or are they away? I think they're all away this week.
They're all the way?
Yeah.
There's your answer.
Any home games Thursday?
Yeah.
Can we do like a, never mind.
Guys, tonight,
I saw some places that did like free entry if you brought like
Shut it down. Look, she shut it down. All right, thank you. Madam Treasurer, your next recommendation?
Next one is approval of minutes for November 11.
I do have a request for this. Is it possible to actually put the minutes here instead of like Like somebody reached out that they were having trouble trying to find it in the library and things like that. So is it possible to have it like as a hyperlink or something like that here?
Yeah, we can put it, but let's think about it.
Okay.
But yes, we can.
Okay, thank you.
All right, your next,
The next one is purchase requisitions. Let's look at them. They are from different departments.
all right, give you guys a second, see if anyone has any questions. Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
Dr. Jones or Mr. Schaller, actually. This Law 1516 Stanley one, it has an amount, but the lease that was signed, I thought that was a yearly amount, not a 6-month amount.
That's not a tough one to explain, but we got the entire amount approved in summer, but how it was released, I guess, was a situation.
So is it better to pull that or discuss that in exec?
It's not for the vote tonight.
I know, but we're going to vote on the next one, right?
Yeah, I'm saying you don't have to pull it.
Okay, then, yeah.
Can I get more specific info for you?
All right, thank you.
Dr. Jones, for you up. Dr. Jones, for you up. So how are we looking, not only with, salt, but just materials in general for rain and winter conditions that we may? Fleet and everything, what's your outlook on how we look at into these winter months?
Thank you for that question. In terms of our fleet, we are solid. With this salt purchase, that will get us through the additional 15,000 added. That'll get us through the winter season. And we may have a little more left over too. Next season.
Appreciate you.
Any other questions? Thank you. Madam Treasurer, your next recommendation?
I have them in now. And this one is from another department. Let's look. If you have any questions, we'll answer.
All right, I'll give you guys a second.
Can I go back?
Go ahead.
There's a PR for sewing machines. I wasn't aware, do we have a sewing program? Tailoring? Does anybody know what that's for?
Mr. Lacy, I will have to get back with you on that.
Thank you.
Sewing machine.
Something at Thurgood Marshall.
Is that Tina's? Yeah. Yeah, we'll double check, but I think, yeah, Mr. Lacy, we think we know what program it is, but we'll get back to you.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Anything on then and now for anybody? All right, seeing none, Madam Treasurer, your.
Next one is claims payment. Since it's in excess of 10,000, it has to be approved by the board.
All right. Any questions? Thank you. Does that conclude your recommendation?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jones.
I recommend a review for the following 4 contracts.
Any questions? Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
Block. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Appreciate that.
How does this like work for us here at DPS?
Okay. Greatly appreciate the question. Kind of wrote down some information just in case, so I had to refer to the actual terminology for some of the things. But, so everyone knows, flock safety, or the LPRs, which is license plate readers, basically it's essential for what we do as far as enhancing our ability to identify vehicles that may have been involved in serious crimes or incidents across the district. Some of the things that we've actually solved are criminal damages to our vehicles, personal vehicles of staff, hit and runs of employees' vehicles on the lots, thefts from our lots, assaults, allegations of gun violence, well, take that back, gun violence, allegations of guns on the property as far as in the parking lots. We recovered or assisted with recovering stolen vehicles on our properties. We've assisted with other investigations with Dayton Police Department and vehicles passing our school locations, car break-ins on the actual campuses, drive-by shootings as well in the area that actually pass our campuses, and getting that information. As far as the CCTV cameras, they do not compare to Flock, because Flock gives us real-time information on vehicles that actually pass or come onto the actual properties.
All right, that's all I had.
Any other questions? I had a couple for you. So with that one, like, I think that was a great list of things, but does it make sense for us as a school district to do those type of things with this level of investment?
You said with this what?
So out of the list of things that you stated,
Mhm.
I think it was 2 of them that were really related to us as a school, and most of them seem to be related to law enforcement. With an investment of $162,000 a year, does that make, like, help it make sense for us outside of the things that it's doing for law enforcement?
I think one staff member's vehicle being damaged, stolen, taken, or one incident on our property, it's invaluable. One incident. As far as it helping law enforcement, I'm not really particularly concerned about it helping law enforcement. I'm more concerned about it assisting us with helping our staff.
I'm not disputing that one. It's more so I know some of the competing needs that we have for safety and security in our district, like cameras at some places. So I'm just trying to justify the investment in this piece of it, where district property is a little unsecure in some places based on some budget needs that we know about. But that's kind of more, I want to see how the last year, how it benefited not just individual members of our staff in that piece, but like the district and the taxpayers on that piece of it. If we could get some data on the last year of
Okay.
what actually did occur, that would be helpful. for
Okay, I'll
everyone.
give you one more answer, that the actual deterrent of the actual LPR cameras being there is a deterrent, which is stopping people from actually coming to our buildings as well and driving vehicles on our properties and committing any crimes.
I hear that. Again,
All
I
right,
kind of like to know what happened.
no worries.
Because again, it's 162,000
Okay,
in that piece of it.
all right.
I just want to see if the investment is worth it for us, not outstanding the things that it does for law enforcement.
Okay.
Any other questions?
How many cameras do we have on each property?
I think it's two to three on our high schools, middle schools, and then it's 2 elementaries that we covered as well.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you.
No problem.
So that concludes your recommendations?
Yes, Madam President, it does.
All right.
Mr. Jones, did you have a 4-ounce steak?
You know what? I did have a 4-ounce steak, and it was very good. Very good. Yes, sir.
And that is the recommendation from, what is it, the
US.
USD. Oh, and it did not need A1.
Good.
Yes.
Yes, it did.
Good.
So we serving steak to students?
Joe didn't give you a piece of steak?
It did. I just want to make sure we're gonna serve it to students.
Cut it up. Told you, make it like a Chipotle bowl. It made more sense. All right, I'd like to recommend the approval of the following board reimbursement.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Walker, second by Dr. Bailey. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
6 yeses.
Thank you. Policy review. Ms. Kidd, we have first and second policies for review. Okay, so resolutions to adopt board policy for first reading, in so much as the Board of Education is committed to the continuing updating of its policies, rules, and regulations manual. And the committee which was appointed has been working towards that goal. The following are brought at this time for first reading in compliance with Board File BFC policy adoption. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Dayton City School District, Montgomery County, Ohio, hereby accepts and adopts the following policies that have been codified for inclusion in the handbook of policies, rules, and regulations. DIAC Audit Committee Charter. This policy is being read for the first time. As such, a motion or second is not required. The policies will be available in the superintendent's office for review, comment, and prior to the second reading and adoption by the Board of Education. Furthermore, the policies will be reviewed by the superintendent's office, the board office, the legal department of the Dayton Public Schools prior to the second reading. Next, resolution to adopt board policy, second reading. In so much as the Board of Education is committed to the continuing updating of its policies, rules, and regulations manual, and the committee which was appointed has been working towards that goal. The following are brought at this time for second reading, in compliance with Board File. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Dayton City School District, Montgomery County, Ohio, hereby accepts and adopts the following policies that have been codified for inclusion in the handbook of policies, rules, and regulations. I move that we adopt the listed policies. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Walker. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reiner,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
6 yeses.
Thank you. I will kick it over to Ms. Reiner to lead off the lobbyist discussion.
Thank you. So we put out a request for information for lobbying firms across the state. We ended up keeping the submission portal open for longer than we initially anticipated. I wanted to make sure that we got it out to all the channels that would give us access to communication, open this as far and as wide as possible to the lobbying firms and the people that could help us with this. We put it out through the Ohio Legal OLEA Lobbyists Association, and then through Gongwer, and through a few news services. We ended up getting a number of submissions. Have my board colleagues been able to review those submissions?
Where were
I didn't know
It was through Bonfire.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
that's it. We can get the hard copy of them. You know how
Yes.
Bonfire
Yeah.
works for us.
Yeah, it was interesting. I reviewed all the submissions. I was impressed with the number of submissions that we got. Pretty broad range of firms. Some that I think are really promising. The discussion I would like to have, and I think it probably won't go super far tonight since we need to make sure. I was not aware that other board members were not given, were not made aware of the submissions in the portal that they could go through. I would urge my board colleagues to read through the submissions. I'm happy to answer any questions that they might have. It gives a pretty good range from each firm. A lot of the same general information about the firm, who the partners are, who the associates are, what their goals are. A few have past projects that they've worked on, pretty broad price ranges. But it gives a good look as to what the services would be that would be available to us if we choose to go down this road. The discussion that we could have once the submissions are reviewed, since this is just a request for information, is if it is the collective board's decision to move forward, then we would put out a request for proposals. And hopefully we could get at least the same 7 who put in submissions for the request for information, have a proposal submitted to us.
Let's push this discussion till next week.
Sure.
Right? Hope, and Ms. Kidd, if people can email to Ms. Kidd whether they will want a digital copy or a hard copy, like a week should be enough time for people to check it out. And even too, we can have the same conversation in January too, when we have our new board member on board as well.
Yes.
So that piece of it, so let's at least
a week out so people can actually go read the material. But please email Ms. Kidd and let her know your preference on whether you would like her to give you a hard copy or just email you the individual files. Sound good?
And just to be clear, no decision about a contract would happen at this point.
Correct.
This would be the decision to go forward with putting out a request for proposals. And then we could have conversations with these firms, ask them questions. I already have a long list of questions that I would like to ask them. But, we need to make sure that we're going through this process with rigor and with thoughtfulness. This could be a tool that, if chosen wisely, could be very effective for our school district.
All right, any other comments on us pausing to do this next week and that piece of it? Everybody clear that you gotta reach out and tell them how you want to receive them? I'm gonna take the silence as a yes. All right, before we move on, I'm gonna do some closing comments for us right now. And yes, Dr. Jones, do you have any closing comments? Ms. Hamilton, do you have any closing comments? Oh, hey.
Well, first of all, good evening. I'm thankful to be here. I think my only closing comments were I missed the moment of silence for Board Member Wick. And so I know that we'll probably discuss this more next week, but I was just very moved by her presence on the board, and she's missed obviously by all of us. But I wanted to also state that I know policy DIAC is back on the board for technically second reading next week, but I just wanted to share that the updates were primarily just tweaks to the policy based off of adapting it for our district. I think a lot of best practices were originally completed and incorporated into the policy the first time, but these are kind of just adapting to make sure that there's clarifications due to their incorporation of different memberships and responsibilities and other things of that nature, which align with our other board policies. So that was it. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Treasurer, do you have any closing comments?
Not tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Walker, do you have any closing comments?
I get to go first.
I'm doing something different.
Okay. No, I do want to prayers to Mrs. Karen Wick's family, and thank you for your service to DPS and especially your babies over at EJ Brown, and your community involvement all across Dayton will truly be missed. And I enjoyed the work, and I am looking forward to getting out of here and doing your favorite thing and going to basketball games here in a little bit. I will want to highlight, I did visit Kaiser today and got to tour the building and speak with the principal. I actually came in on their Christmas game of pass the gift, and whoever it lands on, then that's who opens it. And it was really interesting to see what everyone was getting. Someone actually was really excited to get a classroom pointer for the board. And someone was really excited to get a stapler. So it was really, really interesting. And I will say, Dr. Jones and Mr. Anderson and Ms. Winfrey, I appreciate you all showing up to the meeting that I called yesterday regarding transportation and some concerns in the community, and your willingness to be partners in this collaboration to move things in the right direction. So thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Bailey?
I just first want to give my condolences to Karen's family. It's been sad. Posted something that really touched me, and you showed a video, Dr. Gilwine, and in the video, he asked, what do you want to be remembered by? And she said that I was able to just listen and to respond basically to everyone out there. Karen to me was like a flower child, just a very beautiful person. It was great to work with, great to talk to. So she's going to be very missed. That's really all I have to say for today.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Went to a couple games. So that's what I try to do in this time of the year. Please get out in the winter. Our kids do a whole lot. Looking forward to the events that our various schools are having. Got a couple of invites to go in. Holiday little parties with the little ones, so looking forward to that. Just making sure that we take care of people around this time of year. I'm glad we're doing the coat drive and things like that. I want to reiterate that. That is a huge piece, especially in our community. We deal with a lot of poverty, a lot of need, a lot of people that are less fortunate than others. So I want us to remember that. And yes, all of that makes me think of my buddy. My buddy used to be right there, and we would bicker. We would bicker like crazy, but it came from a place of love. Like I knew that she wanted to make a change. And so when we disagreed, it was based on not the destination, but the route that we get to. And I think if we can remember that in the work that we do, that it's not always that when we disagree in principle. Sometimes we just disagree on how we get there. And I think if we can agree that we want to get there, then I think it makes us all better and we can talk. And that was what I loved about Karen, is that we could have those moments. I didn't see her as just a fellow board member. That was really my friend. Like, there's a person I can say held my baby, that my daughter, she was my daughter's first boss. She was somebody who helped me out as a community organizer. If I had any event going on, she was there. And I mean, any event, from being in the poshiest suburbs to being in the middle of the Soda Bass at night, knocking on doors, asking people how can we help, and she's going to be there. And I'm just really, really going to miss her. I'm already going to miss her being here at the board, but like missing her. And for me, it's just a reminder of how fragile life really can be. And it's a reminder that there are few things that you cannot get past. Like making good with people, letting people know how you feel about them, letting people know that you care about them. That's something she would always do, and I would hate it. I mean, I would truly hate it. If we got into it, we could disagree up here about the time we were out that door. She's like, oh, come on, give me a hug. I'm like, no, we were just arguing. I don't want to hug you right now. But like, that's what I loved about her. It was like, okay, we have this, but what's the greater thing? And I remember I was going through it. And that's why I say, like, we spend so much time in this work that we do. A lot of people don't see it. And we spend this work and we talk about things and we do so many things that people here, they're just not always just your colleague. Like, you really spend time and you really go through real things and you really see people put themselves out. You know, when you run for office, it's a weird space you become in where you have to be okay with people looking at you. You're like you're not a person. Like, you have to be okay with people talking about you, and then seeing you, and then talking to you as if they didn't just talk about you. And she mastered that space of being able to see people come into her restaurant that would just talk so nasty about her online. It would still walk into the space and speak to her. And she carried that with grace and dignity. And, you know, I just think of all of those moments. I think of the times where I've been on this board and I've lost my mom, I lost my dad, I lost my stepmother, I lost my grandpa, all while being on the board. And she was the person who was always there to talk. And it was a, what do you need? How can I help? But more than that, it was a, we're going to get through this. And that's what I land on now. Is like, we're going to get through it. And the biggest thing that we can do is take the things that she put into our lives and use them moving forward. I think that's the biggest disservice we can do to people that have left here, is to not honor them by not going out and keeping the gift that they gave this world. So that's what I want to do, and I pledge to do, is just to keep that going and to let people know how I feel about them and let people know how I care about them and just trying to make this world a better place. Just by the tiniest bit we get, because that's all we get. We get a few days on this earth, so we have to get to work. Sorry for being lengthy today, Madam President. Thank you for all for bearing with me. I did better than I thought I was going to do.
Thank you, Ms. Reiner.
Thank you, Madam President. I would also like to add and send my condolences to Karen's family and friends and loved ones. The things that I've been thinking about past couple days is, the first is how unfortunate it is that it's not until people leave our lives that we are able to talk about their legacy and the way that they made a mark on the world. And I wish Karen could have seen the many people whose lives she impacted. I think it would have brought her a great deal of joy. The other thing that I think she would have liked is that Dayton is a very unique community in a lot of ways. And if you're not from here, it's made known to you a lot. And she had a really hard time not being able to say, I graduated from a DPSI school, or I grew up in this neighborhood. She moved here as a young adult, and she's lived here for a long time, but she wasn't born and raised here. And there were markers to her that made her sometimes feel a little bit like an outsider, even though she had been here for a very long time. But I think after all of the reflections that people have been making, she would have known that she was a Daytonian. I think that would have brought her so much love. I wish she could have seen that. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Lacy.
I've been Karen's neighbor pretty much for many years, but I didn't really know her until I got on the board. I really hadn't met her until I got on the board. Well, I guess I did meet her when she ran against me, and she knocked me off the board after 12 years. But I mean, as awkward as that is, she made it not awkward when I did eventually sit on the board with her. She was a very kind and loving person. It would have been very difficult not to be kind back to her. From all the social media posts, I think I'm one of the very few gay men that didn't go to her bar and hang out. But
It's always Joe.
But me and my husband, we don't eat out that often. I really admired, I really think she, in her board work, I really admired, I think, how she focused on the difficult things. Middle school education is nationwide. That is one of the more difficult, when kids get to that age, they get to be difficult. So I really appreciated her focus on middle school education, her focus on Welcome Stadium, when a lot of people in the community would have said that's really not worth the effort. And she dealt with a lot of the community members that really didn't feel that this district was worth the effort, I think. And I really appreciated her. I really appreciate her for that. And thank you.
Thank you. You guys notice the pattern there? Anybody? Yeah, they notice the pattern. That was seniority. See, now y'all know length of time on the board.
Me and Bailey came in together.
Right, but that's.
Oh, because I'm the young one?
There you go, Cindy.
I just want to make it clear I'm the young one.
I'm the doctor. Thank you.
I mean, by degree, but if you ask the records,
Dr. Lawrence.
Many of the text messages that I received start off with, I know you two were close. Over and over and over. Not that she was just another board member. I know you two are close. There's a picture of her in the newspaper when I was named the full-time superintendent. And she's leaning back in her chair with her hands up like that. For her, it was mission accomplished. We got a team that's from here, a superintendent that's from here that cares deeply, is going to do the work. And every time I see the team, I think about her and her legacy and her unwavering support. We all have supervisors, and the reality is most of the time, when you see your supervisor on the job, you don't want to see him. Not her. She was beloved in this building. People love to see her. They love to talk to her. They love to listen to her listen. And she was two things at the same time. She was a great listener, but she could also talk too. She could go. And so, she could do both. And so she, for me, is going to be missed on so many levels.
Thank you. Before I get into my comments about Karen, because one of the things my mother tells me is that you should give people their flowers while they can smell them. And I want you to know that Chief Jones is actually getting her flowers tomorrow for being one of the who's who in Black in Cincinnati, and it's a very prestigious group there. If y'all just give it up like right there, I know we're gonna stop a moment, but that's a really good thing. Karen. Every year we had a theme, except for the first year, because the first year I didn't know Karen, and she was just out here like, I just ran again last minute. I didn't even fill out the paperwork. I became a write-in. I'm just here seeing what it's going. And she was like the first person to like talk to me that I didn't know on the board, right? So then we got cool, and I was like, oh, Karen is now my partner in crime. We can come up with all types of schemes. And we're just down for it. Like, Karen had this image of, you literally can do anything that you believe can happen. I'm like, all right, let's go, let's do it. So theme year number 2 was radical change. And she would just say it everywhere. Like, we're gonna do some radical change. And with theme number 2, we created a business manager position. And it was me, Karen, and Will. And then the rest of the people on the board here, she's like, yeah, we can do this. I believe it. It's going to be cool. We're going to, this crazy guy next to me, we're going to see. We see if he can win the job. So then she was like, yo, we got to push more barriers. We got to do more. Because like this whole place has to change. It has to become something different. So then in year 3, the thing became dignity and respect. And if you ever talk to Karen, everything came back to, we have to do this now with dignity and respect. Like how we talk to each other, how we move, how we did radical change, and 2, time to get the dignity and respect. And this whole last year, Karen was on my next act, which she thought the next act, and we hoped it was going to be her being on the commission. Then she was like, you know what? I'll be a stewardess. That sounds kind of fun. I'm just going to get out here. And then I told her, I'm like, you know, you can be a teacher too. And she was like, I talked to Chief Dooley, and I can be a teacher. I can be a CTE teacher. I can teach this. I think I'm going to do it. I mean, I could be in all these spaces. And it was a testament to, like, there was no limit when it came to Karen. You literally could dream it, put some effort in, and you can make it happen. And as I said in my post, she was the kindest of everybody who sits up here. She was the most openness of all of us. It didn't matter if you disagreed on something. Tomato bisque and a grilled cheese sandwich could resolve just about every difference that you had. And by the end of that thing is, all right, we still may see it different, but it's important to tell you that I love you at the end of it. It's okay for us to be different. Rainy days will never be the same. And I will say too, like, so we were already, because that's my girl, if y'all don't know, out of all these people who sit up here, Karen was my friend. We were already going to celebrate her because she's been on the Board of Education for 8 years. And that's a long time to be here. Like, a really long time to come to this one. Not as long as Joe Lacey. And soon, Ms. Reiner is now entering that 9th year piece here of that 10-year piece. But we're going to celebrate Karen, not only her life as a board member, but her time and the things that you didn't really get to see here. So our final board meeting is going to be at the school that Karen claimed in her second act as a parent at DPS. Not with her kids, she was at Horace Mann and she was at Stivers. When she became an empty nester and she was still on the Board of Education, she wrapped her arms around E.J. Brown. It was a school that was from a neighborhood that she wasn't from, but she was in there every day. Like Karen was at choir practice. She did lunch duty. She was sending the program out as if she was on the staff. Like, we got to get down there for that piece of it. She brought kids treats. She did it. She did all those things. So our final board meeting will be at Edwin Joe Brown. And I invite individuals who not only on our team, but anyone in the DPS universe. You get 3 minutes to speak, and if we got to be there, we got to be there. It's come out. Feel free to share your memories with us because we are grieving. Like, we didn't just lose a board member. We lost a friend. We lost a community advocate. We lost someone who can go in spaces that many people in our district never get a chance to be in. We lost someone pure of heart. We lost someone. And I'm gonna ask you guys as board members too, and I talked to Board Member Smith about this. I do think that we should name the press box at at the stadium after Karen. She put in so much work for that place. She did. And I think we should consider that. The Karen Wick DPS was a major part of her last act. And I think that should be honored. So with that, if you didn't hear anything else from the people here, give people their flowers today. Let them hear you. And there really aren't that many things in life that are that deep that you just can't move past it. Like the amount of love that we've gotten to see in the last 2 days, I wish Karen could have heard those same things because we're gonna be honest, she was in an election cycle and it kind of sucked at times because people said a lot of things that were different than what you're seeing right now. And people need to hear all the time that life's okay. It's not that deep. And a lot of people love you because you are who you are. And you have done things that come naturally to you. So I hope people don't lose their heart out here. And I hope that we move forward in this moment in love, in dignity, and respect. I hope the radical change that Karen set out to do, we are able to continue that mission forward. And as we go into our next act together, I hope it's just one that not only that Karen could have been proud of, but it just represents the very best of what this district can be. And with that, pursuant to section 121.22G2 of the Ohio Revised Code, I move that this board go into executive session.
Second.
This meeting is being held to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal of a public employee and to confer with an attorney involving pending or imminent court action. Moved by Dr. Goodwine, second by Mr. Lacey.
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacey,
Yes.
Mr. Smith, Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
6 yes.
That's a good idea.